Hello and welcome to the Kayden Gordon Show, today's best country mix. And joining me right here today is Kurt Ela. Kurt, how are ya?
I'm really well. Thanks for inviting me on. I'm looking forward to this.
It is my pleasure. So why don't you start by telling everyone a little bit about you and how you got started in acting?
Yeah, sure. I'm originally from the East Coast. I'm actually from way east. I'm from Maine originally. I moved out to Hollywood, almost 20 years ago, I think. I went to school, small school theater background, and figured, strangely enough, it's challenging to have a film and television career in
Hmm.
Maine, which I know is a shocker to most. I mean, you can have it. It's just,
Right.
it's just hard to actually make any money at it.
Hmm.
Um, and came out here, and you know, I have a lot of people I kind of struggled, not struggled, but it was I didn't know anyone, had no connections, nothing, knew nobody, and so came out here and kind of just started at it and tried to, took classes, did everything I could think of, tried to get into anything, was really aggressive on the business side of stuff, did my own things here and there, and just kind of kept at it. I learned pretty early on from a friend of mine that in order to make it's a bad word, but in order to become a full-time actor, let's put it, in order to pay yourself to get paid enough as an actor to live and maybe even flourish, you really need to not only be good at it, but you got to stick around because it's
Hmm.
it's just I have a lot of friends that there's a 3 year thing. I don't know what it is about 3 years, but 3 years tends to be when a lot of people kind of hang up. I get it. I mean, but yeah, I just kind of decided and stubbornly stuck it out, and um, I didn't really start really gaining traction. Like I booked some small things, and
Hmm.
I used to make a lot of my money via commercials, and I would book a few commercials here and there. But it took me like 7 or 8 years before I started getting into like having offices know who I was, and producers and directors know who I was, and people understand, people knowing me as a human, and that was when things kind of started to take off.
Absolutely. So, most people know you as Alan from Side Hustle.
Yes, best gig ever.
How was that?
Oh my gosh. Okay. There's so much I would love to tell you about that experience. Then I'll start with this. It is when so the show is shot with multicam, which I'm sure
Okay.
but
Yeah.
it's done three cameras. It's in a studio lot.
Hmm.
So, and what that really means from an actor's standpoint is it's the best job. It is the best job in Hollywood, bar none. You go to the studio. If we had a live audience, we would shoot on Fridays, but we didn't, because of COVID. We didn't have a live
Hmm.
audience, and you shoot Fridays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and you rehearse Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I mean everything is amazing. But I'm just talking from a schedule standpoint of a real life dad,
Hmm.
a 6 year old son, now 7. With last year COVID schools,
Hmm.
it was like a godsend. Couple that with the people that were in charge of that show, Dave and John and
Hmm.
Ron and the cast, all the young adults. I can't call them kids anymore because now they're all
Right.
older. Um, they were the best, and I mean, as a dad, and I get to just do my thing and just be, my guy. And they like after 5 or 6 episodes in, I think we had one episode where it was like there was a dance, one I had to dance, there was one I had to something sing uh some Norwegian song, Norwegian, like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in Norwegian. And that was when I think they realized like they could kind of throw whatever at me, and that I would try to make anything work because I love that stuff. It's like, I'm not a well and the role of Alan is so much fun because he's not just like a typical boring dad. He's kind of like a kid at heart. So it
Hmm.
was like I got to be a kid on that set with those people, and it was, yeah, it's the best, man. It is the best.
Do you have a favorite part about the whole show?
Yeah. I would say, well, favorite part of the whole show. Well, I don't know if it was my favorite part, but it was really funny. It was really so. This is how I knew that I was no longer I was like no longer a young chicken. I was on set. We were rehearsing. It was an episode that our Chris Phillips was directing, who was our one of our producers. He was directing. It was his first show to direct. It was great. I mean, everybody was happy, but it's still COVID-y, so it's weird when you're COVID. And I literally was on. It was the one with the refrigerator throwing stuff like Fisher.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were maybe a couple Tuesday. And I remember, and I'm like a short, like you can't tell, but I'm fairly athletic in terms of like, but I'm short. So my legs tend to be a little bit compact and tight. Well, anyway, I come bustling in, the fake ice cubes are on the floor and they weren't there. And I literally just did one quick move, like a quick turn. And I was like, oh, and we were rehearsing the scene, and I'm like, oh, ow. So I'm like, something just, I don't know, something, I must have whacked my leg against. I had strained my calf muscle just literally turning, and I was in so much pain. It was like so extreme. Because I never get injured really. I don't usually ever get injured, but it was like, what is happening? I felt so bad that I was, I remember I was the first one in a season and a half. I had to be put on the golf cart because I couldn't really walk. I had to go to the health person, and I'm literally coming out of the cart. Jaden's at Crafty, and she's so my daughter, like so my TV daughter. She turned, and I'm in so much pain. I feel really guilty about like pushing rehearsal, and she's like looking, and I see her just reach for her phone. She's like taking a video. I'm so upset. She's laughing, and I'm like, "Don't you laugh!" I went to the thing, and we ended up having we had a COVID scare. We ended up having to push that episode in half, and they wrote the knee brace thing, the knee cart thing in for me, and it ended up being, when I came back, my strain was done because we didn't shoot that for a couple of weeks. And the knee strain and the cart thing was the cart thing worked really, really well. It was like so much fun to like move around set with that thing. That was like a super fun set. That and any of the times we got to sing. Like whenever we got to sing, it was awesome. It was so awesome. Dave came up to me when we did the dad, like when the first time the kids did a song and they weren't going to be able to do it, and we had like dad noise with mouth noise and dad noise. And and Dave came up to me the week before our main guy, and he was like, hey, because the producers are all my age, like, do you know there's a song in the 90s called, and I know it, what is it? He goes, it's called, I would walk a thought. I go, yep, I know it. What do you want to sing? Harmony. And we would go and we would rehearse, and we would go in and sing Harmony. And because I was in like a cover band in college that I love to sing. So anytime I got to sing, I absolutely loved it. It was great. It was fun. Yeah. There's too much. There's too many things I liked. And anytime I got to work with Jacques is all the guys are amazing. Without question. Jacques made me laugh. I would usually get to break I would try to break Jaden. I always had a thing with Jules. I always had all my scenes with Mitchell. So I could get Mitchell to break, even though he tried not to. I could easily get him to break. Jacques got me to break so many times. It was stupid. Like his cadence and he's so talented, and so the character was so out in left field, and he was so funny. And we shared a trailer. We shared a whatever, not a wagon. Like he was on one side, I was on the other. So we were always like going to set together. I loved getting to work with him. He was my fave. He was one of my faves.
He is definitely funny. Probably one of the funniest ones on the show, I have to say, hands down.
It's without and it's so funny because I've had lunch with him a couple times after, like when we've been on hiatus, and I've been like, it's so weird to have him not speak. It's such a strange cadence. I remember sitting at the table read for the pilot, and I remember him reading, and I'm like, what is this? This is hilarious. This whole, the tone and the cadence and the attitude was so great. It was so unique and so, It was so funny. It's great. Yeah, yeah. And Isaiah's awesome. Isaiah is a
Yes.
smart
Hmm.
kid, and he would always make me laugh. Yeah, it was like I got to go just hang out with a bunch of kids. Although I will say this, man, when you're my age, the crossover episode. I don't know if you saw it. The crossover episode where they had like all the worlds colliding. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was the only person over the age of like,
Yeah, I saw that
well,
all of them are just like the kids. It was
yeah,
just
it was
you.
literally
Hmm.
all the kids. If there was ever a time when I was like, and the producers just laugh at me, I'd be like, one of these things is not like the other. Like they'd be going cut, and I just be standing there, and everyone was so excited to be around each other,
Hmm.
and I'm like, all right, I don't have my other dad here. I'm cool with it, but man, I'm talking to anyone. Oh, it's funny. It's funny.
What a story there. What a story with all of them.
Oh, it was so cool. It was such a big deal too. Like I didn't
Hmm.
realize it. They just had me in for they wanted me in the episode, and so they just had me in for a couple of things that was fun. But when I saw, it was like, whoa! It was like all five of the shows and all those. You
Hmm.
know, I've worked on other shows. I've worked on especially like young adult shows, and
Hmm.
sometimes especially if the shows have gone on for a long time, sometimes the and if I was their age and I had gotten
Hmm.
an episode, sometimes the young adults can be a little, they can be harder to work with sometimes because
Hmm.
and I mean, oh my gosh, every single person that was on all those shows, they all were just unbelievably great. I don't know if it's their parents, I don't know if it's them. I just was like in awe of how awesome all those people were. No attitude. I mean, you can imagine, right? Seriously, imagine like being whatever age, like in your teens, and like you're
Hmm.
on a show or you're the lead of a show, and even after a couple seasons, yeah, you probably are going to be like, none of that. It's a testament to those human beings. They're very very good people too. It's great.
And that's so good to, hear because, in this world we have so many like negative people. It's just like,
Yeah,
to have a show like Side Hustle is fantastic.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
sad to hear that it got canceled too. I heard that.
I
So,
know that we were so we were taking, like, it's funny, we waited a while, we waited, usually, I've been around a little bit and seen a
mhm.
few shows, and usually you can tell the writing on the wall, and to be
Mhm.
honest, anytime things are like funky in Hollywood, it's like it usually means something's not going, but
Right.
they see it was such a well received show, and it had such a good feeling to it, and everybody kind of dug it, and we kind of did it, and I just we all thought one more season was
Mhm.
probably going to be it.
Mhm.
And the creators and everything, and the numbers were actually, it's, I don't know numbers, I don't understand it, but the people that do were like, the numbers are pretty actually okay, on par, and for whatever reason, I guess Nickelodeon decided to cut down their original programming to only one night a week instead of two, which is what they had. So
Oh,
they had
okay.
to cut some
Right.
stuff.
Mhm.
So yeah, but it was a gut punch because it's weird. Never, no actor wants any show that they like to end ever because it's the
Right.
best.
Mhm.
The work is always in between gigs. It's never the gig, as far as I'm concerned. But this was so uniquely special from the standpoint of how the producers ran stuff. It felt, multicams tend to always feel familial, like
Mhm.
you tend to really, especially, get to know people, and you get to like go to work, and it's, you just really enjoy, everybody, and
Mhm.
everyone from the top to the bottom was just amazing to work with. But also add the pandemic in it, where we're working through
Right.
all of that, which was weird. We were one of the only shows when we came back at Paramount. We were like the only show on the lot for like a month or two, which was really weird because usually there's a million things happening. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it's weird to go to work and have no one else there. So it's just, and we brought a little levity in a time when people were like at
Mhm.
home. And my wife is a nurse at County LA, and she would come home and tell me like, "Oh, your show is on. People that are, they don't want to watch. They want to watch just like eat like fun, light, strong comedies, and they love it." So it gives you a sense of purpose when you're doing stuff. That's great. But yeah, we're a little bummed. I'm still wheeling. I have yet to
Yeah.
do my Instagram like goodbye thing. I've
Mhm.
I've done it like 5 times. I've done it like 5 different videos I was gonna do, and I was like, not ready. I'm not. All the kids have done it. The kids are probably all on other shows already. I'm like, nope. Dad's not going to do it for a long time. I need to sit and think about it.
Yeah, and that's how a lot of people found out was through the kiddos. So,
Yeah, right. Yeah, they would come
Mhm.
on, and yeah, it was a bummer. It was
Yeah,
awful, but that is the world we live in. And the
it
good news is that
is.
we'll get to work together again somehow, some way. I think.
Yeah. hmm
You know,
You never know what could happen. You guys will be reunited together hopefully soon.
right? It's true. That's so true.
Absolutely. Kurt, do you have any advice to those who might want to start acting but doesn't really know how to get their foot in the door?
Yeah, for sure. Um, well, if we're talking just strictly acting, I would say it's so funny how as time goes on, the answer to that question changes a little bit. But the base always stays the same. I think studying when you're younger and you have
hmm
no responsibilities, I think is whether that's at a collegiate level, if you're going to go to college and do, a bachelor's thing, or if you're in high school and you love, love
hmm
it. I think that the foundation of the acting stuff, I think, even if you don't like go on and do anything, or if you're going to go like get into a summer stock theater, just theater in general, I
hmm
think just sets you up as an actor to work efficiently and to know how to work, because I have a lot of people that don't do that,
hmm
and maybe had some semblance of a like an influencer medium, sorry, and they don't know not that they don't know how to act, but they don't really know how to work. And
hmm
so when you're called to set, you should have done all your stuff. You can go and play, but you should have done your stuff. And I don't even, if you're young, it's hard to know, and you don't
Right.
want to be learning. You don't really want to be learning when you're getting paid, in my opinion. So
hmm
that would be kind of the first thing. I know that's a very cliched answer, but I also, with the technology and everything that's done today, I think you should just try. And everybody has always said, since I was way young and we didn't have the technology necessarily, but we had cameras, it's just to
hmm
do your own thing, right? To just make your own, have your voice and do your own thing. Whether that I come more from a comedic background, it's very easy. It's very easy to turn on Instagram and create a character and have a point of view and go off,
hmm
do whatever, or to take your phone and go make a short. I think doing that is really, really helpful to know. When I first started out, we didn't quite have the capability to just take your phone and go shoot something. So maybe I used to do workshops with casting here in Hollywood
hmm
when I first moved out here. And I came from a theater background, and I tend to be a little what they call big, right? So I tend to be a little more animated, and which works in some forms. But if I had a camera, if I like was seeing like, oh, I can tell, like if just did a scene, you could just tell, oh, I'm moving a lot more than I need to be moving. Just playing with stuff like that, I think, can be so helpful to someone. But I do think I've always said it. I think from an acting standpoint, getting a few people that you trust and know, and creating some of your own stuff. I know
hmm
that's such a cliched answer. Everybody says it, but I've changed that a little bit. Like I just said, I think finding just starting. I call it like my toolbox, so to speak. Basically, when I get words on a page and I either can't connect with them, or if I'm on set and I'm having something's tripping me up, I got a little tool belt, and that comes from I have explored a bunch of different ways as an actor to use it, whether it's whatever method or no method or whatever it is that you want to do. I think and I think doing that is really important, and
hmm
exploring all of it. I think some people in Hollywood specifically, you're going to come and you're not going to know anyone, and you're going to get into a class and you're never going to want to leave that class, because you're going to feel this sense of like belonging or like community, which is really, really, really important. But it does negate the fact of like, it's like I should go study with this person for 6 months, and this person with 6 months, and this person with 6 months, to try to find whatever pearls that resonate, so that when the pressure is on and I'm having trouble with whatever reason, or the director's saying you're not really quite getting it, I might try something that doesn't work, and so I got to like try something else. You know, I
Right.
mean, I come from an improv background too, so I did a lot of improvisation, sketch. That's kind of what I you know I like. I just do it. I just do it as much as I can. And but once I had a kid, I can't. You know, once I had a kid, I don't go outside. That I don't go outside after dark very often.
Mhm. Where can people find you on social media if they want to check you out?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm at the real Kurt Ela on Instagram, and Twitter is just Ale Chuck, I believe. Those are I'm just a Twitter. My Facebook stuff is really just the Facebook, and I it took me forever, but Instagram is basically the easiest way for people to find me. On That's my handle, the real Kurt Ela. I changed it to the real Kurt Ela because I think something else happened. I don't know what happened, but I don't know what it was. Something happened. I feel like it's weird to say the real Kurt Ela, but then I also thought it was kind of funny.
There you go, there you go. And some people like look it up and they're like, okay, which one is it, you know?
Exactly, right. It's just the real one. The real one
Yep.
is me. Exactly.
There you go. Kurt, is there anything that I forgot to mention that you would like to mention?
No, man, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to this to talk to me in my time of woe where I'm in between my gigs and I'm still reeling on the fact that the show is not going on as of this moment. So that makes me very happy to think of a good memory, you know? Appreciate it.
Absolutely, for sure. Kurt Ela, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the Caden Gordon Show today's Best Country Mix. We appreciate it so, so much.
Have a good one. Thank you so much, Kayden.